destroying filth. Now I want to read that again because it's so important. We engage in daily peaceful sidewalk demonstrations opposing homosexual lifestyle, soul-damning, nation-destroying filth. We display large, colorful signs containing Bible words and sentiments that include, and I'm just going to read a few of them. God hates fags. AIDS cures fags. Thank God for AIDS. Thank God for dead soldiers. God hates America. Now reread that at the beginning of this paragraph. We engage in daily peaceful sidewalk demonstrations using and containing Bible words. Of course, we all read fag every other word, every other page in the Bible, right? That's very peaceful. Next paragraph. We perceive the modern militant homosexual movement to pose a clear and present danger in the survival of America, exposing our nation to the wrath of God as in 1898 BC at Sodom and Gomorrah. Westboro Baptist Church has conducted 41,226 such demonstrations since June of 1991 at homosexual parades and other events, including funerals of impenitent sodomites like Matthew Shepard, over 200 military funerals of troops whom God has killed in Iraq and Afghanistan in righteous judgment against an evil nation. America crossed the line in June 26, 2003 when the Supreme Court ruled that we must respect sodomy. Westboro Baptist Church teams have picketed all over the United States internationally. The unique picketing ministry of Westboro has received international attention. We believe this gospel message to be this world's last hope. See our news section, etc., etc. Final paragraph. For more information about Westboro Christian Baptist Church, please feel free to attend one of our weekly church services. Want to go worship there, don't we? 41,226 picketing. Worldwide attention. As soon as you say Christian, you're lumped in with Fred Phelps. Now, just so you know, if I ever have the opportunity to meet Fred Phelps, I very well might kill him. I'd appreciate it if you post bond for me. This guy's an Indian. I've actually heard him do radio announcements or radio interviews. They were in St. Louis within the last couple of years, picketing a military funeral here, and KMOX came on the air. And within about 3 seconds, I'm looking, okay, I need to turn around and go to KMOX and kill the guy on the air. But wait, there's more. You don't have to take Fred Phelps. On January 13th of the year 2010, on his 700 Club television show, Christian broadcaster Pat Robertson highlighted the tragedy of the Haiti earthquake and said in his network that they will be there to help the people. However, he then tried to offer an explanation for the earthquake, blaming Haiti's own people for once making a pact with the devil. Quote, Robertson, something happened a long time ago in Haiti and people might not want to talk about it. They were under the heel of the French, Napoleon III or whatever, and they got together and swore a pact with the devil. They said, we will serve you, Satan, if you get us free from the prince. True story. So the devil said, okay, it's a deal, and kicked the French out. The Haitians revolted and got themselves free, but ever since they have been cursed by one thing after the other, desperately poor. That island of Hispaniola is one island. It's cut right down the middle. On the one side is Haiti, on the other side is the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic is prosperous, healthy, full of resorts, etc. Haiti is in desperate poverty. Same island. They need to have, and we need to pray for them, a great turning to God. Out of this tragedy, I'm optimistic something good may come. But right now, we're helping the suffering people, and the suffering is unimaginable. But the only thing he got right was about the island of Hispaniola. Now, here's the thing. Even if I don't, even if I agree with Pat Robertson, I don't. To come out on a national television within hours of thousands of people dying and saying, well, it's your fault because your ancestors made a pact with the devil, is just short of idiot. If you ever want to teach somebody about it's important to know when to speak, pull that up on the website, show people and say, this is how you don't do that. This is what an idiot looks like. And as soon as you say Christian, you are lumped in with Pat Robertson. Now, please let me repeat what I said. As soon as you say I'm a Christian, as soon as you say go to church, come to church with me, as soon as you whatever, you and I must understand the playing field is not level. It is slanted against us, in part because of fools like this, in part because of other problems that people have had in churches, all kinds of different reasons. As I've been reading stuff, it's been very interesting. I've come across a new phrase that's been used, that whenever we talk to people about Christianity or Christ or church or whatever, that we're not talking necessarily to unchurched people. That the identification is that we're talking to de-churched people. These are people that went to church. They used to go to Sunday school or whatever else, and for all the different reasons that you are sick of church, they said, I don't want to do this garbage anymore, and they quit. So as soon as you say, man, I'm going to a new church, this is great, you want to come with me, they will automatically go back to whatever else that they used to deal with and think about that instead of what we're doing. It's not a level playing field. So I repeat, the Bible's very specific that it is our responsibility to go out and make disciples. Understand, as I've been reading these different verses to you over the last few weeks, I hope you see the parallel and how it crosses over. Because as we're talking here about how do we need to take the responsibility of the ministry of telling people about Christ, do you understand that it's not just in Matthew 28, but the very verses I read to you where we talked about Jesus lived a sinless life and offered a sinless perfect death for us, that comes right back to 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 18, 19, 20 that we read about. It says that you and I are ambassadors for Jesus Christ, that we've been given the ministry of reconciliation, that you and I have the responsibility from God. If I say I'm going to serve Jesus Christ, that you and I have the responsibility to tell people about who Jesus Christ is. So how do we do that? In a world that doesn't really like Christians, in a world that is becoming de-Christianized and de-churched every day, that in a world that is becoming more postmodern than ever before, how do you and I stand up and say, well, let's make a difference? It's actually easier than you think. How do you do it? There are two things to identify. If you're taking notes, you want to write this down. How do I do this? Three things. Number one, pray. Pray, pray, pray. Here's what you do. If I am a good friend of Anita Kells, and I'm not, so don't confuse me. But if I'm a good friend of Anita Kells, and I want her to know more about Jesus Christ, then I accept the responsibility to not accept the responsibility totally on my own. And I start talking to my Heavenly Father, who is her creator, about her to open her life or change her thoughts or open the door for whatever can be done so that I can say something to her and she'll be receptive. I need to pray on purpose. If I want Randy Brinkman to know more about Jesus Christ, the last thing I want to do is go start talking to Randy Brinkman. The first thing I want to start doing is start talking to God about Randy Brinkman. How do I do this? God, help me understand what the best way to do this is. Father, help me to break through that gap or tear down the walls or whatever I need to do. Help me understand how to best reach Randy. Now that may take me, that door may open in the next 2 days, that door may open in the next 2 years, whatever it is. But the first thing I need to do is pray. But here's the second thing, and this is the most important thing to understand. Whenever we talk about, identify what it's like to be a Christian and to talk to people about Christ, we're not talking about cold calls. We're not talking about calling nights. We're not talking about witnessing to our friends. We're not talking about any of that garbage. We're talking about just being a friend. Just be a friend. Just be a friend. Because, folks, here's the deal. Every survey I've ever seen about people going to church, they may come to church because they saw an ad in the newspaper. They may come to church because they saw a flyer in whatever.